Look at the man in front of you, playing with the alligator's feet all the time. Even seeing the feet wasn't enough. And look at the crocodile's mouth. And he's not a pervert. It's America's most famous swamp hunter. It's one of the most lucrative jobs in the world. It only takes 1 month of work a year. They can earn millions of dollars. And the lucrative business has attracted hunters. Because of the alligator epidemic in Louisiana, the government, in order to maintain ecological balance, the hunting season is open for a month every year. All the hunters need in the meantime is a sign. You can legally kill alligators for money. With the 10th day of this year's hunting season approaching, now the water level has dropped further. The hunters had to change their boats. With the sun rising, Ronnie and Timmy have already started today's hunt. Then Timmy suddenly introduced Ronnie to the waters. It also tells of a giant crocodile here, white lightning, although it may sound like old folklore. But if it's real, the alligator would be over 12 feet long. It made Ronnie's blood boil too. It wasn't long before they saw the already tight trap. After getting close, Ronnie just hooked the rope. Ronnie was able to pull the alligator out of the water right after the catch. Timmy took the opportunity to pick up the gun. The two men pulled the crocodile into the boat. The crocodile's tail was found to be 1 section short. He went from 8 feet in length to 7 feet. It also made them realize that there was a giant crocodile here, and most likely white lightning. And on the other side, the Willis. We're preparing for something different. And that's because they received a commission yesterday. There's a fierce crocodile near here, terrorizing passers-by around the pond. So they were yesterday. They booby-trapped the neighborhood. But getting to the pond isn't easy, and they don't have access to regular boats there. You can only use a small punt. After entering the water, the two men began to run the line. A moment later, he saw the struggling crocodile ahead. As soon as he got close, little Willie pulled up the rope. The crocodile was quickly pulled out. Willie fired right away, but missed. This time it worked. The two men looked at the large cargo as if it could not be loaded on the ship. So Willie left it on the shore, decided to pick it up later. Then the two continued to search for the target this time. And on the other side, Bruce the Lone Ranger. We still need to help Troy fill out 15 labels today. Not much though, but the waters he chose. It's the lower water levels that hit the hardest. Here you can even see tree roots sticking out of the water. And Bruce is a complete stranger to these waters. I don't know if yesterday's trap is going to work, but the good news is that the first trap already has a crocodile bite. This made Bruce very happy. With great effort, they pull it out of the water. I saw the crocodile was not small. Quickly picked up carbon. This scared the crocodile back into the water. But Bruce pulled him up. But it looks like it's got enough strength to pull it up. Bruce took it right out of the air. This alligator is stupid. Don't you know it's easier to get hit in the air? After loading this large cargo onto the ship, Bruce didn't dare stop. Immediately on to the next target. And on the other side of the Don River, Jacob decided to use a different mode of transportation today. That's a hovercraft. This allows you to go places that no ordinary ship can go. You can change the water at any time, en route to established waters. Don even did some drifting. Soon they reached their destination. I even saw a crocodile on arrival, swimming leisurely there. So the two of them get close. Jacob throws the triangle hook right away. It was a straight shot. They pulled it out of the water right away. Don, seeing Jacob and looks like he needs help, immediately threw another triangle hook. They didn't have time to mourn the crocodile after it died. Quickly pulled it onto the boat, in case it sinks too late. Look at this crocodile about 10 feet long. Their hearts were filled with happiness, and thinks this one is by far the biggest of them all. 40 miles from the two of them, Daniel and Dorian come to a body of water they know all too well. There have been large crocodiles here for decades, but now there are no traps to bite. Even the last trap only saw a big chicken leg. The two have been like this since early morning. Not even alligator scales. But even so, Daniel still has to hunt in these waters. It was as if God had blessed me. Then a crocodile appeared ahead, and it doesn't look too big. After landing the boat, Daniel just threw the line. It scares the crocodile straight into the water. But the good thing is the hook has caught the crocodile, so he started pulling back. But crocodiles are powerful. Just rip the line right through it. Daniel may need to replace his fishing line with 18-gauge nylon. Or Daniel had diarrhea yesterday. This has led to a very bad state today. There was no tussle with the crocodile. I'm just going to pull it right back. But if something goes wrong with Daniel, it also means Dorian's chance. He can use this time to examine his own shortcomings. You can also take on different challenges. And Ronnie and Timmy on the other side, still looking for signs of white lightning. Just then a fish jumped into the boat. And here we have 60 or 70 centimeters of fish. It also means there are big crocodiles in these waters, because this fish is totally on the crocodile diet, and it's not too low, while the two are still complaining. There's a trap ahead that's already bitten. As soon as Timmy gets closer, he hooks the line, but there was no resistance. After pulling it up, the crocodile was found dead. Then the two men pulled him into the boat. They also saw bite marks on the alligator. Both immediately thought it was white lightning. Even by the bite marks, white lightning is about 13 feet long. Look at this alligator that's been bitten. Both men were very impatient. If we don't hunt him down soon, more crocodiles will be killed. Then a crocodile suddenly appeared in front of him. Ronnie loaded the gun right away. But when I got closer, I couldn't see his shadow. Two people had to give up next time in search of opportunities. And on the other side, the Willis, still looking for that menacing crocodile. Although the other crocodiles here are very active. But he never showed up. And now the boat is still leaking. It won't sink right away though. But they're constantly pushing them to speed up. That's when little Willie found out. Could be the crocodile they're tracking. But when I got close, I forgot the triangle hook. So little Willie had to use the hooks he had used to make traps. Then he threw the rope. Just hook it right in and keep pulling back, even though the crocodile got away. But it also made little Willie more certain. That's the goal of their trip. And Bruce on the other side, for crocodiles have been successfully captured. But there was trouble. Bruce is lost. Quickly took out a map to see. Bruce, after the direction, just twist the throttle and head for the destination. But then there was a sudden noise. Bruce had to stop and look. Found the bilge pump gone, and the attached hose is missing. Although Bruce brought a spare bilge pump, but there's no hose. So Bruce hurried back to look, to keep the hose from sinking. And Don and Jacob on the other side, flying over all kinds of terrain. And 4 crocodiles have been captured. It's a little slow, so they decided to move on. On the way there, Jacob suddenly saw a crocodile sleeping late. He quickly picked up the Patriot. Take the boat as soon as you hit it. As soon as they get closer, they throw the triangle hook. After pulling the crocodile into the boat, looking at a crocodile about 10 feet long, they were very happy. But now the weight is very large. This worried Jacob. Because of this hovercraft, it can't drive on land. The greater the weight, the less space 2 people can go to. The camera goes to Ronnie and Timmy. The two are tracking white lightning, but they saw it on the way here. Another species that lives in swamps. The bald eagle. And Bruce on the other side spent nearly half an hour looking for the hose. And what was found in the meantime was bizarre. But luckily the hose was found. Then I started my own renovation journey. After successfully installing it, the arrest was resumed. It didn't take long to find the trap, and the crocodile on it is very spirited. After pulling the crocodile into the boat, I threw it right on top of the crocodiles. But this crocodile's legs are still moving. But don't worry about Bruce after every gator gets on board. They will seal their mouths. And Daniel and Dorian on the other side. None of their traps have taken the bait yet. That's when Daniel spotted a crocodile. And it looks big. Dorian picked up the gun as they approached. As Daniel gets closer, crocodiles are in range. Daniel quickly throws the fishing rod out after the hit. And then Dorian threw the hook. With the help of both men, they pulled to the side of the boat. Then something unexpected happened. The crocodile doesn't look dead yet. Daniel quickly raised his gun to make up for it. It's a good thing there's an experienced Daniel, or Dorian is in danger. After pulling the crocodile into the boat, the 2 men summed up the matter, so as not to repeat this phenomenon in the future. And on the other side, the Willis. Ever since that crocodile got away, the 2 searched for 2 hours. There was no sign of the crocodile again. Willie knew at once that the crocodile might not be in the pond, so it was decided to deal with the pond traps first, and then change ships to look for it. And unlike the Willis, Don and Joey are close to completing their goal for the day, but there's too much weight on the boat now. So they found Troy, king of the swamp, transfer part of the crocodile. But while moving the crocodile, Don, the king of bad luck, is in trouble again. After the transfer, the 2 were finally able to run around again. And Bruce on the other side, we've managed to catch 14 crocodiles. So I decided this last one was the big one. To amaze people, soon there was a crocodile already hooked. Hook the rope as soon as you get close. Then pull it up. He just pulled out a big baby. Although the crocodiles kept hitting the hull in defiance. But the strength is still small, and the impact will just pre-adjust him to the dizziness. So there's no post-mortem reaction. After the crocodile was loaded onto the ship, Bruce ended the day decisively. And Daniel and Dorian on the other side. The 2 were in open water. 3 crocodiles have been successfully caught. But that was not enough for both men. Then I see bubbles. Dorian throws the hook without hesitation, and then keep pulling back tentatively. No longer pull slowly after finding a successful hit. Instead, he took out the strength to eat milk. Daniel picked up the gun too. After pulling the dead crocodile into the boat, Dorian looked at the harvest before him, got Daniel's approval. This gradually increased his confidence. Meanwhile, Ronnie and Timmy, still tracking the white lightning, although it has been found before. But this crocodile is still a mystery. And Timmy's been tracking white lightning for 10 years. Now for the heart of putting white lightning on board. There are no words to express it. Then the two had to deal with the last trap first. As he gets closer, Timmy keeps looking for the crocodile's location. But suddenly the crocodile appeared from the side of the boat, looking at the dead white lightning. They were very happy. After some effort to pull the crocodile into the boat, Timmy's excited heart was already at a loss for words. And on the other side, the Willis. After changing the boat, the two men searched along the fishing line laid out yesterday. Soon they reached the first trap. Then little Willie took the rope in his hand. Feeling resistance, he quickly increased his strength. Look at this giant thing in front of you. Willie guessed it was 13 feet. After pulling the crocodile into the boat, they were more convinced that it was 13 feet. And this crocodile has a beautiful skin line. Meanwhile, Don and Jacob, there is one more label to fill in. Soon they noticed a crocodile in front of them. To see him so beautiful and quiet, the two men immediately decided to go to one side of the woods first, and then shoot from there. Jacob first fixed the Patriot to a tripod. Then take the binoculars and look closely. Open the safety when you are sure. Don's right in front of the boat, and the crocodile just floats there. The two are celebrating after a fist bump. I pulled the crocodile straight into the boat. Then the two began to retrace their steps. But the hovercraft is stuck halfway. So Don took it from his toolbox, brought out the electric winch, after securing the rope to the boat. And then Don kept hitting the gas. Finally managed to escape the danger. Don's always had bad luck, but it was always nothing. Well, that's all for this program. Give it a thumbs up, and let's look forward to the next episode. Look at this man fishing in the river. After the hook, I used the strength to take a shit. All you can get is a net, even one fish net after another. And this man is not here to be funny. He's one of America's most famous swamp hunters. It's one of the most lucrative jobs in the world. It only takes 1 month of work a year. They can earn millions of dollars. Because of the alligator epidemic in Louisiana, the government, in order to maintain ecological balance, the hunting season is open for a month every year. All the hunters need in the meantime is a sign. You can legally kill alligators for money. With the arrival of a new day of alligator season, Troy the Swamp King and Pickles, again to the body of water called the graveyard. Strange things happen there, but there are always big crocodiles in graveyards. So no one's going to hunt crocodiles there. I'm sure there'll be plenty more. Soon saw the trap Troy had made the day before. The king of the swamp loaded his gun as soon as he approached, to keep Kimchi safe, and Kimchi took the rope in his hand. After pulling the dead crocodile into the boat, Troy looked at the alligator, which was only 8 feet long, a little unsatisfied in my heart, because this crocodile is insignificant in these waters. That's probably Troy complaining. They brought in a little creature, and Bruce on the other side. I got a commission this morning. There is a community living in this big crocodile, and every time the kids swim, crocodiles will show up and threaten, for the safety of the children. After Bruce arrived, the line was laid immediately. First he hung the rope from a branch, then hang the drumsticks 2 inches above the water. Put a few more along the way. Meanwhile, pork chops and Laron. There are 20 more labels to fill out. Today, however, Ms. Laren has changed her strategy. I think it will bring me great gains. That's adding a CD to the fishing line. And that's why Laron thinks so. It's because crocodiles and birds love it. So there are always hunters. Install white reflectors on the fishing line. Make the bait look like a resting bird. Although CDS are reflective, but alligators aren't necessarily attracted. Crocodiles don't have bad eyesight after all, even a little too good. And on the other side, Zach and Joey, we're preparing for something different because they decided to kill an old enemy today. And this old enemy loves crayfish. That's why he's often seen in places full of crayfish. And in order to catch this old enemy, they set the trap here yesterday. It was like a blessing upon arrival. Zach soon sees a crocodile ahead of him, and not a small one. As soon as he gets closer, Zach throws out the line, and he managed to hook it in. I didn't know it would take Zach that much effort. All it pulled up was a net, and one after another. This is turning Zach's face green. And then after doing a tour, neither found any sign of the crocodile. And about 40 miles away, Daniel and Dorian, it's still on land, and it's because of Daniel's boat. The engine suddenly had trouble, but Dorian still has a boat. Otherwise, neither of them would have gained anything today. But Dorian has one request. That is to be a captain. Daniel readily agreed to the request, and think it's normal to be the captain of your own ship. It wasn't long before Dorian showed up with his hovercraft. Then the two began to make preparations. After getting ready, the two set off immediately. And that's because the two need to get ahead of the storm. Finish what needs to be done today, or after the storm. It could have capsized the boat. And this is all because the hovercraft has very little draft. Meanwhile, Troy and Kimchi, the pair managed to capture another crocodile. At this time, Troy was attacked again. A carp caught Troy right in the back of the head. While the two were still laughing, Troy spotted a tight line ahead. Kimchi pulls up the rope as soon as it gets close. After pulling the dead crocodile into the boat, look at this alligator, which is also 8 feet, and 2 consecutive attacks. Just let Troy break down a little bit. But king of the swamp, after all, it didn't take long to adjust. And on the other side, Zach and Joey, still searching for old enemies. But after a long thought, Joey has an idea, and that is to put the crayfish in the trap. To make the idea a reality, Joey docked the boat on the shore. Deploy crayfish traps here. But the trap needs to attract the crayfish first. That's how we attract the crocodiles. After the deployment, the 2 men decided, while you're waiting, check out the traps you made yesterday. It took almost half an hour. The 2 finally saw a bait trap. As soon as he gets closer, Zach pulls him to the surface. And this crocodile is spineless. As soon as he came out of the water, he started running. They don't try to fight like their predecessors did. There's no use fighting it. But at least when it comes to meeting God, I can confidently say that I did not waste my life. Instead, you're just going to die in frustration. Although they managed to pull the crocodile into the boat. But the old enemy was always on their minds. Because if the water rises, then it will go into hiding again. So no one can find a chance to hunt it. And Bruce on the other side, I'm ready to run now. This makes Bruce impatient, trying to bring that crocodile to justice. Let the children swim freely. It wasn't long before Bruce reached the first trap. Bruce, after pulling the alligator out of the water, almost got bitten on the foot again. I've been bitten 3 times in a row. And that really pissed Bruce off. Just switch to a bigger caliber gun. Send it to God. After pulling the dead crocodile into the boat, Bruce moved on without stopping. Let all these scary crocodiles go to God. Meanwhile, Pork Chops and Laurent, viewing set traps. But so far they haven't caught a single crocodile. This also makes Pork Chop gradually lose patience. But Laren says it will take time. Then Laren suddenly saw the trap that had been hooked. So Pork Chops came forward and picked up the rope. The crocodile was soon pulled out of the water. After pulling this crocodile into the boat, look at this 8-foot alligator. 2 people are a little dissatisfied. After all, they still want to catch the big fish. After putting the crocodile away, Laurent gave Pork Chop a CD to rearrange the line. Pork Chop, after a look is their idol, immediately asked for a replacement. This left Laurent a little speechless. Maybe it's just someone who doesn't follow the stars and doesn't understand the stars. Pork Chop, after receiving the new CD, he just hung the CD on the string. And on the other side, there's Troy and Kimchi. We also found a hooked alligator right here. The Kimchi pulls the crocodile up again. Troy quickly picked up his gun. But when Troy was about to tie the rope to the gator, suddenly got a bite. Troy was so freaked out that he put another shot in. This time it was really hard. It's the head of a crocodile on the boat, and it's spouting blood like crazy. It's like there's a curse on Troy. Ever since I've been here, I've been getting hit for no reason. Meanwhile, Dorian and Daniel. The 2 are having a bit of an argument right now. Daniel wants to hunt in open water first, and Dorian wants to place the line, although the 2 have been at odds. But in the end, Dorian chose to listen to Daniel. Soon they noticed a crocodile in front of them. Dorian quickly stopped the boat. Daniel immediately throws the triangle hook. Keep pulling back after a good hit. But it got away with it. This made Daniel very angry. Keep throwing the triangle hook, trying to pull it out of the water. But Dorian finally talked her out of it. And Bruce on the other side. Several crocodiles have been successfully hunted, but it didn't capture the client's target. Bruce had to keep checking the traps. See if you can help the kids. Then Bruce saw that one of the traps had been bitten. After getting close enough to hook the rope into your hand, and pulled it straight to the surface. And this crocodile comes out of the water. I just did a fadeaway jump. Almost took Bruce's jaw off. But then something unexpected happened. This crocodile is really nice. It went straight to full automatic. I don't even need Bruce to pull him on board. After closing the alligator's mouth, Bruce began his search again. Zach and Joey on the other side were running. The 2 hope that the old enemy will be in a trap somewhere, so we can catch it. Not these 5 crocodiles on the boat. Can be when checking for traps, only to find that the rope had been torn. Joey immediately assumed it was the work of an old enemy. After all, this rope can hold 1,500 pounds. A normal crocodile wouldn't have that kind of strength. The 2 men immediately moved on to the next trap. Zach was on the road when he spotted a crocodile. He threw the line out immediately, successfully hit the target while slowly pulling back. After successfully killing the crocodile, Zach asked the question, "That's not our goal." But unfortunately, it's not. The crocodile is only 9 feet long, although it wasn't the goal, but it also gave them a lot of confidence. Meanwhile, Pork Chops and Laurent, for crocodiles have been caught on CD. But Pork Chop is not convinced by this method. He thinks he could have caught the big fish. But it's just normal stuff now. After remaking the trap, they move on to the next trap. As soon as he gets closer, Pork Chops hooks the rope, and feel this is a big deal. Although the CD method is confusing, but I have to say it's a pretty good idea. This method has allowed them to add another crocodile to their boat. Then the two men put a chicken leg in the trap. Then he moved on to the next trap, and Bruce on the other side. We still haven't caught the target of our trip. Bruce had to keep cheering himself up and pray that the next trap is the target of the trip. When I got closer, the rope was gone. Bruce noticed on closer inspection. The crocodile actually ran onto the road and enjoying the sun there. After Bruce checked his gun for bullets, he boarded the road alone, then walked quietly and keep an eye on the crocodiles. When Bruce came around behind the crocodile immediately gave Bruce a warning. Too bad Bruce isn't afraid. It took a shot straight after it was aimed, and then immediately stepped forward and fired a shot. Look at the nearly 13-foot alligator. This must be the alligator that terrorized the kids. And now those children can swim freely after pulling the crocodile into the boat. Meanwhile, Daniel and Dorian, the two had been on the water for hours, but so far neither has laid a trap, and the storm is getting closer. Dorian doesn't want to spend any more time catching crocodiles. I want to finish setting up tomorrow's traps first. The two quarreled again. Then there was a thunder in the sky. Another reminder that time is running out for both of them. That's what got Daniel to agree to set the trap first. But maybe it's too late now. And on the other side of the cemetery, under clear skies, Troy and Pickle after many attacks. We still have 10 crocodiles in custody. It also makes Troy want to catch a big one to end the day. But then something unfortunate happened that just knocked out the steering lever of the engine. But after half an hour of repairs from Troy, I was able to fix it. Soon they saw the tight line. The kimchi gets close and pulls it straight to the surface. The two of them, after a lot of effort, I pulled them into the boat. And that's just the best they got out of the day. This made Troy very happy. It can still end on a high note. And now Bruce. After capturing the entrusted target, the whole mental state of the person has changed. And on the other side, poor Chops and Laron. Not a big fish has been caught so far. Not even a few traps in a row were stocked. But good thing the last one was in stock. When it gets close, the poor Chop pulls it straight to the surface. The two men looked at the giant crocodile before them. Filled with joy, he pulled him into the boat. And this 11-foot alligator. It also proves that CDS are useful. And on the other side, Zach and Joey, still on the trail of their old enemy. But the pair had forgotten about the crayfish trap they had set. Just keep looking in the open water. That's Joey spotting a crocodile in front of him. And he seems to want to be the target of this trip. So Zach throws out his line. It keeps pulling back after it's in the hook. After Zach seemed a little stuck, quickly threw out the triangle hook, with the help of two people, and pulled it straight out of the water. After successfully killing the target, directly let two people happy cannot find the north. After this crocodile got on board, it also means that both men can claim victory today. Then there was a sound of thunder from the sky. The two men quickly began to return, but they got out of the water just in time. But Dorian and Daniel are not far away. Not so lucky. They were blown over in the harbor. But good for the fishermen nearby. Gave him a helping hand, pulling Dorian's boat out of the water. Well, that's all for this program. Give it a thumbs up, and let's look forward to the next episode.